Bradley Bozeman, man, I hope you're having a great afternoon. Welcome into the game here in T-Town.
Yeah, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Good. Now, is it any cooler up in Baltimore? I mean, for an offensive lineman, any cooler than it is here in the great state of Alabama?
Not by much. It's still pretty warm here, so not quite as bad as those Alabama summers, but it's still got its qualifiers.
I got you. All right, so when you think about Scott Cochran and the strength conditioning program, according to Nick Saban, started today on the campus of the University of Alabama. What's those players going through as they get welcomed to Alabama Crimson Tide football?
Oh man, a lot of fun. When I say fun, not fun at all. It's a lot of hard work. I mean, it's really good for the team and builds a lot of mental toughness and strength conditioning and all that. Coach Cochran and Coach Saban do a great job with all of that aspect, and it helped me get through a lot of things and just kind of to be able to push through. So they're definitely getting a good introduction to Alabama football.
Yeah, and a lot of new players just starting on the campus. Classes started yesterday, and football activities today as they prepare for the off-season conditioning program. All right, so can you take me into, I see you guys like working sand pits, and what's it like out there? What's the weirdest thing Scott Cochran's ever made you do as far as team building? We see a lot of rope pulling, and you guys do all sorts of things, but maybe kind of share a little story with us if you can.
Definitely the competitions after you finish running, 15 110s or 17 110s, whatever it is, and you get done with that, and you're like, all right, you're up on tug of war 1-on-1. So you're dead beat tired, and you have to go in and pull another 300-pounder guy from their spot, so you don't get embarrassed in front of the whole team. Now that's a struggle right there.
No doubt. Bradley, when you go back, and I'm kind of curious, we were able to catch up with you as the NFL draft process last year, and sort of that took place. But I'm curious, as you reflect on your rookie season, how Alabama helped you make that transition easier, or maybe helped you mentally and physically get ready for the grind of the NFL season?
It's Alabama. It is a grind. You're not going to work harder anywhere else. But it really helped me with how our practices run. Make sure to take care of each other, but go hard. I had Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Dalvin Tomlinson, Reuben Foster. I had all of those guys that just are ridiculous players, and even in NFL now. So I had to go up against those guys every day, and that iron sharpens iron.
Well, Bradley, when you look at the NFL, man, how cool is it to have some Alabama teammates there with you, and just kind of understanding what you went through at Alabama, but they have that common fraternity and a lot of guys that were your teammates. What's that experience like?
Oh, it's great. You get to talk a lot of crap to everybody else on the team because they don't have near as many. Oklahoma's building on our team, but still not quite there. So it's a lot of fun to play around with.
Okay. So you're telling me that smack talk happens in an NFL locker room?
Just a little bit.
Okay. But you got the jewelry to prove it. How many in that locker room has got 2 rings from 2 national championship seasons?
There not very many, both besides the ones from Alabama.
Right. So you say, look at the jewelry. The proof's in the rings, man. Because you got a bunch of rings. You own a part-time jewelry store too.
Yeah, I got a good little collection. So I'd like to add a couple more to that too before I finish my football career. So.
What has been the hardest thing for you transitioning to the NFL? What's been the hardest thing? What's been the most challenging thing?
Just the most challenging thing is practice in the games. You're going against the best players you played. In every position, not just there's not just one from here, one from D-line, one from secondary. It's every single person is in the NFL for a reason. So they're the best they have, and no matter if you're the Browns had their downtime, they still come super hard. It's a total grind every single game.
When you look at a guy like Mark Ingram joining your locker room, and we know what he means to the University of Alabama, being the first Heisman Trophy. But when you look at a guy that has been able to play that long in the league at a position that you don't really play a lot of years, but Mark Ingram's been able to overcome that sort of trend. What can you learn from a veteran like Mark Ingram?
Oh, Mark's been through it all. He's he's been on the short end of the stick. He's done everything. So he's been a great guy to add to our locker room. He's got that high energy, that leader mentality. He's me and Mark didn't play together, but just to see him there and just to know what kind of guy. I grew up idolizing him. So it was really cool. He's in the locker room, and I know y'all saw Quinn Williams thing talking about all the great players that he's playing with now that he grew up watching. And it's kind of the same thing for, I think, everybody that goes into the leagues. Like, you idolize those guys as kids, and then you get there and you're like, wow, we're actually playing with the guys that I idolize. So it's just it's a great opportunity and a great, just dream. I mean, it's a dream. So.
No doubt. I mean, Mark, and I don't know if listen, all you guys are big Alabama fans, but Mark Ingram is like, don't take this the wrong way, but he's like the ultimate Gump. Roman Harper gave me that a couple of years ago, which was his teammate in New Orleans. He said, there's nobody a bigger Alabama fan than Mark Ingram.
I could see that for sure.
Bradley, let me go into a couple of different things. Let me go back to the 2017 season. You were a captain on that football team and part of the leadership council, and certainly a guy that a lot of people looked up to because you'd been through a lot of different things here at the University of Alabama. When I say the 2017 team, what was unique about that team that maybe allowed you guys to have success?
I think the thing that was most unique about that team is just the drive and determination everyone had. I mean, we lost so many players in so many different big games, and it's just, just the things that we came through and just built back to, and, being down against Georgia and just fighting back against them to come back and win the national championship. I mean, it was just an amazing experience, and to see how that team and, all those guys just fought the entire year. Nothing was really given to us. We just busted our butt, did what we had to do to get the job done.
All right. When you go back to Clemson in Tampa and the disappointing loss there, did that fuel the fire? I mean, can you add motivation to what you guys already do? I mean, was that part of motivation for that 2017 season?
100%. We went into that game and it came down to the wire. Literally to the last few seconds, and that heartbreak that definitely had some push into the next year. I mean, we weren't absolutely stacked like every other Alabama team that comes through. I mean, we had great athletes. Don't get me wrong, but like some past teams have had, first rounders across the board. I just feel like we battled and fought and did everything, scrapped and clawed our way to the top. So.
Well, we had Tony Brown on yesterday to talk about it from a Green Bay perspective, and I asked him his favorite moment in Tuscaloosa, and he took me back to Clemson in New Orleans. He said that, I mean, you guys won championships here. I mean, y'all, but he talked about that game in New Orleans was, I think Daniel Moore labeled it sweet revenge. But Tony said it was his favorite game in a Crimson uniform was the revenge game that you guys got a hold of Clemson down in New Orleans.
Yeah, that was definitely a good game, and we came in, especially for the offensive line. I mean, the score didn't really reflect it, but we went down and we kicked their butt, their D-line. I mean, they, all week, all the media was talking about how the Alabama offensive line wasn't going to be able to handle the defensive line, and just constant. And we went down there and we showed them what we had. So, we rushed for, I can't remember what it was, but it was a crazy number against the number 2 ranked Clemson. But it was like Tony said, you can't really explain it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of funny that you guys are using some of the same words to talk about that game, and understanding maybe a little bit of what Alabama players right now are going through, and kind of understanding that game out in California didn't go Alabama's way, but it's probably going to serve as a big motivating factor throughout this offseason leading into the 2019 season.
Yeah, for sure. They say don't focus on the past, but you always have it in the back of your mind.
Hey, Bradley, let me take you to the Georgia game. Can you kind of walk through the emotions? Because Alabama, the one thing that I don't know how you beat Alabama, obviously, by stomping them in the ground and making sure that there's no small get up, but they left just a little bit of margin of error at the halftime break, and you guys were able to come out and have a different second half and was able to beat Georgia. Take me back to that championship game. What was that locker room like at halftime of the Georgia-Alabama game there in Atlanta?
You would think that everyone would be hanging their heads and just down the dumps about it, but everybody in that locker room was confident. They were ready. They were ready to go out there and show them how Alabama actually plays because we weren't playing our game. But everybody was ready to come out there and do what we do the second half and just see where the chips fall. I never had a single doubt that we were going to lose that game the entire time. Even down, 16-0 at half. Or how much, what was it? Was it 16-0 at half? 14-0?
13-0. Yeah, 13.
13-0. But it was just one of those games that just came together for us. Tua stepped in, and can I say Jalen showed absolute sportsmanship. I mean, he never hung his head. He never, did anything to negatively affect the team. He was there. He was supporting everybody. He was, he filled his job as the leader, and we got the win, and that was one of the best nights of my life.
Bradley, when you look back at Alabama, I was looking at your Twitter account a couple of minutes ago, and as I'm looking at your main page, I'm thinking about the brotherhood at Alabama. And I know we talked about it a couple of minutes ago, man, but I'm seeing you, I'm seeing Matt Womack, I'm seeing Ross Piercebaker, I'm seeing Jonah Williams. I mean, man, you guys are – I mean, you could see that love that you guys have for one another, man. That is a tight fraternity within the team is those offensive linemen, man. And I don't know if there's another show in the country that features more offensive linemen than we do in Tuscaloosa, man. We appreciate the big nasties, man. So it's good to see that photo on the front page of your Twitter account.
Yeah, we appreciate the support.
Hey, Bradley, one real quick thing. When you look at a transition, Alabama's transitioning. Ross was able to do a great job this past year filling in for you. And, we've kind of had this run of centers, man, that have played well. Next in line's Chris Owens and the responsibility there. What's it like for a newcomer to have that much responsibility on that O-line and make all those calls?
Well, I don't think it's just center. I think it's every position you have to come in and fill a role that, a first rounder just left or a drafted guy or whatever it may be. But, especially at center, that's a big responsibility and everyone takes it really seriously. When they come in, they have to do that role because, that's your central command station, the center is. If you can't command your troops from the inside out, then you're not going to be successful. And all these guys know that. So they come in, they do their extra film study, they do extra on the field, they do whatever they have to do, and it usually works out for everybody that's been there so far. So, and I don't expect anything less from Chris. I mean, Chris is a great competitor. Chris, busts his butt. He stays extra in the film room. He does what he's supposed to do. So I think they'll be in good hands, no matter who wins the spot. So.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I thought it was really nice to see that this spring that, it's like a tradition that's continued when you talk about good centers here in Tuscaloosa. We're talking with Bradley Bozeman. Bradley, final question, man. I know you were doing some anti-bullying campaigns and trying to create a nice little charity work. Are you still involved in that?
Yeah, we got the official charity open. The Bradley and Nikki Bozeman Foundation. We have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. We're still doing our work. So now we're doing some smaller things. We're doing some peering at a local school and just getting involved in the community in the ways we can. And hopefully, in this coming season, we'll really get the ball rolling and visit a couple of schools up here. And the next off season will be, we'll really get after it because this past off season was kind of crazy with getting married and everything else. So.
Well, congratulations on getting married. I know that very, very happy. You guys have been together for a long time. We wish you many, many years. Are you guys living up in Baltimore during the off season too?
No, we kind of travel around. So it's just kind of wherever we end up.
I got you. Hey, Bradley, thank you for making a couple of minutes with us here in Tuscaloosa, man. We love talking championships, and we appreciate being able to catch up with the 2017 captain, man. Thank you so much for visiting with us here in T-Town.
Yeah, thanks for having me.